Imagine trekking across the barren, snow-covered landscape of Antarctica, your face whipped by the blistering wind as you search for long-lost relics buried beneath the ice. It's the stuff of action-adventure movies, but for a dedicated team of archaeologists, this is all in a day's work. Despite being one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth, the frozen continent of Antarctica is hiding an incredible treasure trove of archaeological wonders. Get ready to be amazed, awed, and even dumbfounded, because we're about to count down the top 5 most incredible archaeological finds that have been uncovered in Antarctica. From the ghostly remnants of ill-fated expeditions to tantalizing clues about ancient claims to the continent and artifacts from an 18th century gold rush, this icy wilderness holds secrets that have the power to rewrite human history. These discoveries are anything but ordinary, and in fact, one of them might even bring about the end of the world as we know it. Number 5. Shackleton's lost ship, the Endurance revealed. Step back in time to the early 20th century, when a group of brave explorers set out to conquer the frozen wilderness of Antarctica. At the heart of this daring expedition was the Endurance, a ship led by the legendary Sir Ernest Shackleton. In 1914, Shackleton and his crew had set out with grand ambitions to be the first to cross the entire Antarctic continent. But their dreams of glory were shattered when the Endurance became hopelessly trapped in the ever-shifting sea ice. After months stranded on the floe, the crew was eventually forced to abandon ship as it was slowly crushed by the relentless ice. What followed was an incredible feat of human endurance and survival. Shackleton and his men embarked on an 800-mile journey across the frozen Weddell Sea, finally reaching the relative safety of Elephant Island. From there, Shackleton and a small party made a daring open-boat voyage to South Georgia Island, hundreds of miles away, to get help. Miraculously, against all odds, all 28 men made it through this ordeal alive. Their tale of survival has gone down in history as one of the greatest feats of the heroic age of Antarctic exploration, but the ship was never found. In 2022, over a century after the Endurance sank beneath the icy waters of the Weddell Sea, a team of researchers made an incredible discovery. Using satellite and meteorological data to plot the original course of the ship, a team of scientists maneuvered around the ice floes in an icebreaker vessel. When they reached Endurance's last known approximate coordinates, the researchers launched a set of state-of-the-art saber-tooth diving drones. They eventually located the long-lost wreck, resting over 10,000 feet below the surface. As the explorers surveyed the wreckage, they were astounded by its remarkable condition. The wooden hull was largely intact, and they could still clearly make out the ship's name Endurance on the stern. It was as if the vessel had been frozen in time, a haunting remnant of one of the most epic and harrowing adventures in Antarctic history. Now, over a century later, the wreck of the Endurance offers a poignant, tangible connection to that legendary journey. Every artifact recovered from the icy depths, from the ship's wheel to personal belongings of the crew, provides new insights into the hardships and triumphs that unfolded on that fateful expedition. For historians and archaeology enthusiasts alike, the discovery of the Endurance is a remarkable find that has captivated the imagination. It's a bittersweet reminder of the human spirit's ability to endure even in the face of the most daunting challenges, a courage and perseverance of those who dared to venture into the unknown. The Endurance may have been lost to the crushing ice, but its legacy lives on through the artifacts and stories that have emerged from the wreckage. It's a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can rise to the occasion and achieve the seemingly impossible. Number 4, surprising bones. Add a seat of power to the table. In 1985, the oldest known human remains ever found in Antarctica, consisting of a skull and femur bone fragments, were discovered in the South Shetland Islands. The Yamana Beach remains were found to belong to an indigenous woman from southern Chile in her early 20s, thought to have died between 1819 and 1825. Though the remains were found near a sealer's camp, there is no explanation for how they came to be there, and no record of women being in the area at the time. Scientists eventually concluded that the woman may have come to Antarctica as part of the lucrative sealing trade, or got caught up in it, perhaps captured or imprisoned on another sealer's boat. Her identity is still a mystery, but the most critical part of this find was that the woman was indigenous to Chile, a key piece of evidence that, translated, becomes current-day geopolitical power. In the modern era, what countries can lay claim to Antarctica and its few remaining archaeological finds has been hotly debated. The Antarctic Treaty was signed in Washington in 1959 by the 12 countries whose scientists had been active in and around Antarctica, stating that Antarctica shall be used for peaceful purposes only and that no country can expand on their territorial claims to the continent. It has been upheld since then, but part of the treaty regarding mineral rights will be reviewed in 2048. The discovery of this woman's remains establish a Chilean claim to the Antarctic continent that predates all others, which could further their negotiating position when the treaty is up for review. Rights over scientific exploration and exploitation of natural resources may be under debate again soon, and with this find, Chile now has significant evidence to push back against Chinese and Russian claims to the icy wilderness. Number 3. Ghostly remnants of the heroic age of exploration. As we move on to our fourth spot, we uncover an entire landscape dotted with the ghostly remains of long-abandoned outposts from the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. The heroic age of Antarctic exploration was an era in the exploration of the continent of Antarctica, beginning in 1897 and lasting until 1922. The Shackleton-Rowett expedition of 1921-1922 is often cited by historians as the last exploration of the heroic age. During this time period, 17 major Antarctic explorations were launched from 10 countries around the globe, resulting in intensive scientific and geographical study. Expedition crews often erected buildings intended to last only about 2-3 years to withstand the severe temperatures during the winter months and provide a base for scientific study. These eerie, weathered structures stand as silent sentinels to a bygone era, offering a precious window into the lives and struggles of the intrepid men who braved the continent's harsh conditions. From the ramshackle hut known as Scott's Hut, built during the ill-fated expedition of Robert Falcon Scott in 1911, to the more substantial bases established by other daring adventurers, these ghost town outposts are a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of scientific discovery and human exploration. Painstakingly excavated and preserved by dedicated teams of archaeologists, these remote sites have yielded a treasure trove of artifacts, everything from harpoons and sled fragments to personal belongings and supplies left behind by the early explorers. Each item uncovered provides invaluable insights into the day-to-day realities faced by these pioneers, whether it was battling blistering winds, subsisting on meager rations, or mourning the loss of comrades. Imagine the biting cold and howling winds that greeted the men who built these bases, the sense of isolation and vulnerability they must have felt as they carved out a foothold in this vast, hostile wilderness. Yet, despite the daunting challenges, they pressed on, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a compulsion to push the boundaries of human exploration. The artifacts left behind, a pair of worn boots, a weathered journal, a broken sled, serve as poignant reminders of the sacrifices made along the way. These are not merely relics, but fragments of real human stories, snapshots of lives lived and lost in the pursuit of discovery. For modern visitors, exploring these ghostly outposts offers a profound connection to the triumphs and tragedies of the heroic age. It's a humbling experience, a reminder that even in the face of the most daunting challenges, there were men willing to risk everything to blaze a trail into the great unknown. Number 2, leftovers from 18th century fortunes made from an icy wilderness. Moving on to our second spot, we uncover another fascinating relic from Antarctica's past. The rusting remains of centuries-old sealing stations dotting the frozen landscape. These eerie, time capsule-like outposts offer a glimpse into a bygone industry that once thrived on the continent. Back in the 19th and early 20th centuries, Antarctica was the epicenter of a booming sealing trade. Whalers and sealers flocked to the icy waters, braving the harsh conditions in search of valuable seal fur and oil. These hardy sailors established a network of stations and camps across the continent, using them as hubs for their hunting and processing operations. The seal trade was booming during the 1821 to 1822 season, when close to 100 vessels were officially employed in Southern Ocean sealing. But over time, overhunting decimated the fur and elephant seal populations, and expeditions had to push further south. These were some of the first expeditions to the areas, but fearing discovery from competition, rarely documented their travels. Over the years, many of their outposts were abandoned, left to the mercy of the relentless Antarctic elements. But despite the ravages of wind, snow, and ice, numerous relics from this sealing era have managed to survive, frozen in time like time capsules from a lost world. Archaeologists have painstakingly excavated and studied these sites, uncovering a treasure trove of artifacts, from harpoons and sled fragments to the personal belongings of the sealers themselves. Each item pulled from the ice offers a poignant reminder of the hardships and sacrifices faced by these early Antarctic pioneers. The sealing stations reveal insights into the lives and livelihoods of the sealers, a hardy, sometimes ruthless breed of men who braved the elements in pursuit of their lucrative trade. Through the artifacts found at these sites, we can glimpse the tools they used, the makeshift accommodations they called home, and even the harsh conditions that claimed many of their lives. The artifacts they left behind, a weathered harpoon, a tattered journal, a pair of well-worn boots, serve as poignant reminders of the sacrifices they made in pursuit of their livelihood. It's a sobering look at the human cost of this bygone industry, the lengths people would go to eke out a living in the most unforgiving of environments. These sealing station ruins serve as a memorial to a vanished way of life, a reminder of the human drive to explore, exploit, and ultimately conquer the most inhospitable regions on Earth. For modern visitors, these frozen outposts provide a tangible link to a chapter of Antarctic history that is often overshadowed by the more glamorous tales of heroic exploration. While the expeditions of Shackleton and Scott have captured the public imagination, the story of the sealers has largely faded from view. Before we reveal the #1 terrifying discovery on our list, we'd like to share some facts about Antarctica and why archaeology is so limited here. Archaeology is the study of human activity through the recovery and analysis of artifacts, architecture, sites, and cultural landscapes. With Antarctica so remote and its climate so harsh, the continent does not have a rich history of being populated by ancient people, so there is very little for archaeologists to study. Most artifacts and remains on the continent are from visitors, explorers, seal traders, and scientists. Despite internet rumors, there are no hidden pyramids or the remains of ancient cities waiting to be dug up. Regardless, it is still a land that has discoveries that have captivated other scientists, such as marine biologists, ecologists, and paleontologists. Here are the top 10 discoveries that have shocked them. Antarctica's landmass is larger than the entire island of Oahu in Hawaii. 60 to 90% of the world's fresh water is locked in Antarctica's ice sheet. The native Maoris of New Zealand have oral tales of visits to Antarctica dating back to 600 AD, over 1100 years before anyone else set foot on it. Antarctica was once far warmer than today, at about 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and home to an ancient rainforest. Fossils, including ancient ferns, ginkgos, and cycads from the Mesozoic era, have been found in Antarctica. Dinosaur bones, including those of Ankylosaurus, were found on Antarctica's mountains in 1990. Every fossil scientists collect on Antarctica is a never-before-seen plant or animal species previously unknown, although similar to plants and animals found in Tasmania and New Zealand. Antarctica has 2 active volcanoes, including Mount Erebus, an icebound volcano that has unique features such as ice fumaroles and twisted ice statues formed by seeping gases. In 2021, when part of an iceberg more than twice the size of New York City broke off the continent, it revealed an ocean floor full of marine life that had been trapped under ice for over 50 years. There's a subglacial lake known as Blood Falls in Antarctica that flows blood red due to its high oxidized iron content. Number 1, a ticking time bomb foretelling the apocalypse from the bottom of the world. The Doomsday Glacier, a colossal ice mass in Antarctica the size of Florida, has scientists around the world on high alert. Recent underwater surveys of this massive glacier have revealed a truly alarming state of affairs, one that could have catastrophic consequences for the entire planet and life as we know it. Initially sighted in 1940 and officially named in 1967, the Thwaites Glacier has been nicknamed the Doomsday Glacier because it is currently teetering on the edge of catastrophic collapse. Researchers have discovered that this glacial giant is rapidly losing its grip on the seafloor below, with the ice front receding at an alarming rate. If Thwaites were to break free and begin melting in earnest, the results would be nothing short of apocalyptic. Scientists initially estimated that the glacier could collapse within the next 200 to 900 years. But in May 2024, it was discovered that warmer water had started penetrating the glacier further inland than previously known, accelerating the collapse timeline significantly. How bad could it be, you ask? Well, if the Thwaites Glacier were to fully disintegrate, it would trigger a chain reaction that could raise global sea levels by over 10 feet. Just imagine coastal cities around the world, from New York to Shanghai, submerged under rising waters. Hundreds of millions of people displaced, entire nations wiped off the map. It's a nightmare scenario that keeps scientists up at night. The Doomsday Glacier is very much a real and present danger, one that is being driven by the relentless march of climate change. As our planet continues to warm, the ice holding Thwaites in place is becoming increasingly unstable, setting the stage for a potential catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. Researchers have been monitoring the Thwaites Glacier for years, using state-of-the-art technology to map its retreat and assess the risks. And what they've discovered is deeply unsettling. The ice front is receding by as much as a mile per year, and the rate of loss is only accelerating. It's as if the glacier is gripping the seafloor with ever-loosening fingers, ready to let go at any moment. To make matters worse, the Thwaites is what's known as a marine-based glacier, meaning that much of its base lies below sea level. This makes it particularly vulnerable to the warming ocean waters that are eating away at its foundations. And once that delicate balance is disrupted, the glacier could quite literally collapse in on itself, unleashing a tidal wave of destruction. The implications of such an event are simply staggering. Entire coastal regions, home to billions of people, would be swallowed by the rising seas. Critical infrastructure, from ports and transportation hubs to power plants and sewage treatment facilities, would be wiped out. The resulting humanitarian crisis would be unlike anything the world has ever seen, straining the resources and resilience of even the most advanced societies. The Thwaites Glacier has earned the ominous moniker of the Doomsday Glacier. This colossal ice mass, hidden away at the bottom of the world, has the power to bring about a true apocalypse, and the race is now on to understand and mitigate the threats it poses before it's too late. Those were the top 5 most incredible, awe-inspiring, and downright terrifying archaeological discoveries that have been unearthed in the frozen wilderness of Antarctica. In addition, the looming threat of the Doomsday Glacier serves as a stark reminder that even in the 21st century, Antarctica still holds the power to reshape the course of human history. Who knows what other wonders or horrors might still be hidden beneath the ice, waiting to be discovered. One thing is certain: the countdown of Antarctic archaeological marvels is far from over. So stay tuned, because the next great discovery could be just around the corner.